Did you guys buy some sort of like back thing that Hazel can just go in? You can bring her all around on your back. You both need one of those.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't have one of those.
Well, you
We
need
have a
one.
wheelchair.
No, I would make your parents carry you on their
Yeah,
backs.
totally. Get an adult baby Bjorn. Both of you.
I like to use my arms, so like wheelchairs are fun for me because I can
Okay.
exercise my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And mine have like lights on the bottoms of the wheel.
Oh, cool.
Oh, well, see, now you have fancy stuff going on there.
Hello, everyone. This is Chris and Lizzo.
We are a brother-sister team.
And on behalf of the Charcot-Marie Tooth Association, a.k.a. CMTA, we are coming at ya.
Coming at you from coast to coast. I live in California, and Chris lives in snowy Vermont.
That's right, folks. Snowy Vermont. Wait, where are we, Lizzo? Now I
don't
lost
know,
it.
Chris.
Oh, my goodness. See, you can't really mess this up.
This is
All right,
another
so this is another
episode,
episode
Chris.
of our podcast. Name what, Lizzo?
CMT for me. CMT, the number 4, me.
That's right. CMT for me, a community-focused podcast dedicated to those with CMT, giving them a voice in the community to share their stories, good or bad, successes, challenges, and much, much more.
Chris,
Yo.
today we are headed to Nashville, Tennessee, the home of country music
That's
and
a great country
music
accent.
television, CMT.
CMT? Lizzo,
Yeah.
I'm confused. I
What?
thought this interview was about the Coldiron family with Hazel and her family.
Oh, but it is. Let me explain. CMT's
Go for
country
it.
music television. Everybody recognizes that.
Okay.
And CMT is also Charcot-Marie Tooth. Everybody knows country music, but how many people know about Charcot-Marie Tooth? Not as many, right?
Exactly. And I get it. I get it. Nashville is a happening city. I was there like 3 months ago. Boy, what a blast. And isn't Alan Jackson the country singer from CMT? Or
You got it.
has CMT? Isn't he from Nashville?
He is.
He
Yes,
is. Cool.
he is. That's
Okay.
right.
Well, let's give a shout out to Alan Jackson and maybe he can be on our podcast. Alan, if you're listening, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on the podcast, man.
And Hazel would love to meet you and the Coldiron family. They'd love it. Let me tell you about today's guest. So we've already said the Coldiron family. David Coldiron is a part of our CMTA board of directors.
That's right.
His wife, Christina, is very involved in the community. And we have Hazel with us, who's almost 11 in November. I'm not sure of the date, but we have Hazel, who's almost 11, and she's a superstar. So welcome to CMT for Me podcast.
Welcome.
Thank
And
you.
I actually think, I was wondering if I saw Hazel when I was in Nashville playing the piano on Broadway. Hazel, you ever go down there and play piano?
No.
No.
She said, I saw this 10-year-old.
on Broadway.
I
Yeah.
saw
Okay.
her on the street playing the piano. I'm like, I don't think that was her.
I think so. Listen, it's so great to have you guys.
Hazel, welcome. So you're almost 11. When's your birthday?
November 15th.
Okay,
Okay.
so almost 11. All right. So what is this story about CMT in your family? You have CMT, Hazel, and do your parents have it?
No.
So you have it. How did you find out you had CMT?
We were at the park with my best friend when I was 3 years old, and her mom is a physical therapist, and she told us we had to see
Another PT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
another physical therapist, and then that physical therapist said that we needed to see
A neurologist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
and we were like, why do we have to see all these people about her foot just going a little off center? Because we thought they thought it was just because I had just started learning how to walk. It was just because I was young and starting to walk.
Mhm.
You were free,
How
so
long
you had
was-
been walking for a while, but because of how she was running, my friend was suggested seeing a PT.
And so how long, or what was that time frame like from seeing right up until seeing the neurologist? Did that take quite a long time?
It took a couple months.
Couple months. Okay.
But our pediatrician actually came to us to let us know what she had thought that Hazel had. And it was the night that we actually closed on the house that we're in today. And it was a
Okay.
big project because we were doing a renovation and she came to our home, and I'll never forget that moment.
Well, what did you say exactly?
Yeah. How did you respond? And if you never forgot that moment, fill our listeners in a little bit.
So to rewind a little bit, we did hear from our PT that we should talk to a neurologist. The neurologist communicated to our pediatrician that she thought it was CMT, and our pediatrician delivered that news. And at that moment, I think Christina and I, we were very confused. We had no history of CMT in the family, and it was a little scary at that time. And Christina and I decided to take a couple of weeks to let it sink in and to do a little research, and then sort of made a vow to each other and to our family that after 2 weeks of allowing us to cope a little, we would go on the offensive and to start figuring out how we can make a difference, how we can make sure that Hazel has the best experts in the field as it relates to neurology and surgery and everything else that is involved with CMT.
So you must have frantically been doing research. I mean, I can just imagine day and night just trying to put all the pieces together. And I also think it's pretty amazing that the pediatrician came up with, hey, she might have CMT, because usually you don't get that. It takes such a long journey to even get that identified. And that's something, Lizville, right? A lot of folks we interview talk about how long it took to get any type of diagnosis, just because it's such an uncommon.
Do you think that's because
disorder.
You have a center of excellence in your backyard that more people know about it, or was it just chance?
I think it's possible, but actually, I think it was the neurologist who shared with the pediatrician. She thought it was CMT, and the pediatrician was a family friend and actually lived around the corner from us in addition to being Hazel's pediatrician. So she was kind enough to come to the house to share that information.
Good.
It's very generous of her.
And do you know what type of CMT you have, Hazel?
No, I do not.
You don't know? Okay.
They're trying to figure that out. Dr. Zuckner is trying to figure that out right now.
That's right. Dr. Zuckner's lab at the University of Miami has been very helpful and very gracious in terms of putting a lot of resources towards trying to find this gene. For us, that's step one for being able to try to find a solution for Hazel. So if we don't know what we're battling, it makes it difficult to find that answer.
So during those 2 weeks that you did a lot of research, what did you come up with and what was your game plan? Like, tell other parents, like, what did you do and what did you think of and where'd you go?
And I will say it's pretty cool. You took a 2-week window and then jumped in. Some people take a year, 2 years before doing anything. So it says a lot about you guys.
Well, thank you. I suppose where it started for me was I tried to look up to see if there were any podcasts that were CMT related. Your podcast did not exist at that time.
Right.
What a wonderful resource to people who have been dealing with the CMT for a long time or are new to the community. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, David.
But we also obviously would Google, and we found the CMTA. And Christina, I think you found something in particular that was poignant to you.
Yes, we were given a lot of materials, and one of the materials was a brochure that included this testimony from a parent whose child had CMT. And I remember reading that in the car. I think we were coming back from Cincinnati after an appointment because we started traveling to try to figure out what to do. And it was written by Herb Barron. And I remember how much it meant to me to read those words and connect with someone who seemed to be going through the same thing. And then we ended up getting connected with her family by going to see Dr. Davidson at CHOP. And we told Dr. Davidson's nurse, please share our information with anyone who would be a good resource for someone who's been through something like what we're going through. And then they gave us the Barron family's contact information. And it was just meant to be. And then it just kept on connecting to CMTA.
It's so great to have resources out there.
Yes.
Right. In whatever format that is. And it's pretty interesting how people get connected, right? To share stories and experiences. And you probably feel a lot better that you can talk to someone. So let's talk to you, Hazel.
I was thinking, Hazel, now that you heard your parents describe this several times now, what was your experience of all this? Do you remember it? And when were you even aware that you had CMT?
I think I was aware the whole time, not before we knew, but after, but I can't really remember it because I was so young.
I guess now or over the last few years, how do you feel about having CMT? Is it just kind of, you don't think about it? You do? What are your thoughts there?
I don't really think about it that much.
You don't. And do you wear braces?
Yes.
You do. So
So
I
you're-
think that's awesome. You don't really think about it too much. Just continue doing what you're doing. You play piano, I heard,
hmm
right? Pretty active at
You know,
school.
she's been on our basketball team. I think she's
Awesome.
she has a surgery coming up at the end of November, so I think she's going to help coach this year. Which
Okay.
Hazel has always been a natural leader, and so I think she's going to do great in that role. But I think the
That's
reason
awesome.
why she doesn't think about CMT all day, every day, is she's just a very driven and joyful person, and so she would not let any obstacle get in her way in terms of trying to grow, trying to become a better student and a better sister and daughter and friend.
So
That's
Hazel,
awesome.
like if somebody says to you, "Oh, why do you have braces?" Do you get angry or do you just explain? Because a lot of people don't like to wear braces because it makes them look different. What do you feel about that?
If someone asks me that and I've like told them before, I can get a little annoyed and angry.
Okay.
Yeah.
My cousin, she'll like every time I see her, which is like 2-3 times a year, she's like, "Why do you wear braces again?" And I'm like, "I've been
Right.
telling you this for 9 years."
Right.
Yeah, like
Um,
how many times do I have to tell you?
I know. My
But
goodness.
like a new kid at school or something, I don't get annoyed with them because like they would have never known why I do.
Sure.
And what is your explanation?
I say I have a disease called Charcot-Marie tooth. It has nothing to do with your teeth. It's just the last names of the people who discovered it,
Hmm.
and it affects your hands and feet. So that's why I have to wear braces to walk.
Okay.
And does anybody ever ask you questions about it other than that once you say that?
They're like, "So you can't walk without them?" And I'm like, "No, I can. It's harder for me to."
Wow.
And they
Wow.
think
That's a great answer, by the way.
I wear them for like ever. They think they're always on. Like I wear it to sleep and stuff, but I
Yeah.
don't.
But
You
you
don't.
don't.
I don't.
You take them off when you go to bed.
That would hurt.
It would hurt. It wouldn't.
Hazel, do you experience any discomfort or any pain at all?
No, not usually.
No. Great. Yeah. Good. And it, like I said, it sounds like you're very active, which is awesome. And you must have a pretty good friend group. Do you have great friends at school?
Yeah, it's like the last year at this school, and it's harder to get into other middle schools in 6th grade.
Sure.
So a lot of my friends have gone to other schools, but I'm
Mhm.
still in touch with them.
So it sounds like you and your sister have a pretty good relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because what was the story you told me about playing basketball? So you play basketball and she plays basketball, but you complement each other in a lot of things. Do you remember what you told me?
I think it was Claire that told you this, but
Right.
Claire did.
like
Yes.
that she's good at shooting hoops, but I'm good at like dribbling the ball and bringing it down court and stuff. So like we're good at opposite things, but we play good together because
Yeah.
one can do something and the other can do another.
All right. So it's a great team. And I think she said you're incredible at passing. I think I remember that, like passing the ball.
Pretty much Stockton to Malone.
Yeah. So
So-
can you dunk it?
No.
You can't slam it yet?
No,
You don't
but
hang off the rim?
in the streets, it's like it doesn't get that low.
I think I picked you up before.
Yeah, but I don't do it on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't either, even when I played basketball.
Yeah, exactly. So Hazel, in terms of CMT, are there certain things that are disappointing from your perspective, or maybe do you ever get angry, or I don't know if there's any things that frustrate you that you see other kids doing, and just curious if there are and how you address that.
I can't do the monkey
Bars.
I can't like
Yeah, those are hard
I can hold
for
the
anybody,
bar.
really.
It's just like I can't go from bar to bar.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can run, but not as fast as other people.
Mhm.
Like in PE, we have to do the pacer test, which is like you have to run a length. Like you have to go back and forth, and it goes all the way to like 200. But
Oh,
you
wow.
don't have to do it for that amount. You just have to get over 20. That's the
Yeah, it's like the minimum. Yep.
I can't do it as well as the other people do because I'm slower at running.
That's okay.
Yeah. Is that how you look at it? Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you probably, I would not to put words in your mouth, but do you just also think of all the things you can do, right? And there's probably things that you can do that others can't as well. So that's kind of cool.
I have a unique thing where I can like bend my thumb back around my hand.
Oh my God. Christina, look at that.
Okay.
He gets nauseous very easily.
Excuse me, listeners. I will be right back. I've got to go to the bathroom here. I'm going to get ill. I'm getting all sweaty now. Hazel.
That's pretty cool, Hazel.
That is cool, though. Do that
I
again.
can't do
Actually,
that.
do that one more
No,
time.
do it again. Let's see it.
So you wrap. Interesting. Okay, that's
I
awesome.
don't think I
can't
can
do that.
do that.
It's that like where you pull your thumb back and around.
Oh,
Okay.
that is pretty cool. You're pretty flexible there on those hands,
That's
right?
right.
That probably helps with piano. You can stretch things out farther, or you can.
I can do it with both hands.
That's awesome. Oh, God.
But Hazel, what are you good at? Because I think she told me she was really good in math, Chris, which I'm horrible
Oh,
at.
boy.
I know we don't like to bring that subject up, but
Mm.
you are good in math, aren't you? What else?
And let me just back up because my daughter, her name is Lila. She loves math. So she was a finance and math major. She just graduated from college. But I always asked her, like, why do you like math? And she just likes that focus on trying to solve. Like, there's an answer. And how do you get to that? Is that why you like it? Or
I don't know. It's just
yeah.
I guess it's because I don't really like the other subjects as much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like English and
No, I don't like English.
yeah, I was never.
You're more a scientific background.
Yeah, and I was more science and math as well, but not like literature and history. And you take the subjects, but they weren't my favorite. So,
What do you think you're going to do in the future? Do you have any idea?
I mean, I want to be an anesthesiologist.
awesome.
Chris can't even say that word. An anesthesiologist. Why is that?
Because, like, I was really nervous when I had the surgery, my first surgery. So, like, I just want to be involved with it, I guess.
Hmm.
It's like, it'll make me feel better about it.
What were you nervous about? Except I know that you were nervous about the surgery. Anybody would be. But what about anesthesiology were you nervous about?
I was nervous about going to sleep because I didn't know how I'd feel afterwards. And once I went to sleep, it wouldn't really be the same when I woke up again.
Oh, because they put something over your mouth?
Yeah. And like you try to last as long as you can, but like when they
Right.
say, "Are you okay?" You're like,
Do they have you count backwards from 10? No.
But it can be a very intimidating and scary situation, right? If you've never done that before. Would you find, Hazel, that if you're an anesthesiologist, that you could be in a position to educate the patient and to make them feel at ease and hopefully not to experience what you did?
yeah. And maybe I could educate myself as well to not be as scared of it.
That's
What
awesome.
would you tell somebody going to have anesthetic with that mask? What would you tell another kid your age about it and how to handle that?
I'd tell them it's going to be okay. It's just going to sleep faster than you usually do, which is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Is you don't want to be awake during the surgery.
Good point.
So
Yeah.
true. And
Good
when-
point. I've had some surgery and definitely did not want to be awake. I have two friends that are anesthesiologists, actually. One who was my college roommate, and then another gentleman who my wife and I are friends with their family. And yeah, and they're great. And you know what? It sounds, just given your background and as your parents referenced your leadership, right? I could totally see you in that type of role. And it sounds like you've got this inherent kind of giving back to other people. And that's something you could do through that profession, which is really cool that you're thinking that way at the age of 11. That's awesome.
Hazel, what would you tell somebody else your age about CMT if they were just diagnosed? What would you say to them about, they're like, oh my gosh, I have this CMT and what would you say to them to make them feel at ease?
I'd say to them, you are the only one who can actually understand yourself. So you have to have a lot of self-respect because, like, yeah, there are tons of other people who have CMT, but it's not all the same. So you have to really voice out what you feel, and you shouldn't be ashamed that you have it, because if you have it, that doesn't make you different from everyone else. It just makes you more cool.
Are you sure you're only 11?
Yeah, I know.
You sure you're not like
Age
22 in November or something?
Sure, 11.
You're 10. You're almost 11, right?
I think, though, that is exceptional feedback that you would give to others, right? And I'm so glad the way that you expressed that's on this podcast for our listeners. It's amazing. So very insightful. I mean, what else could you say, really, right, to someone? That's great advice.
And another thing, Christina was always great. I said, I brought Yo on to a lot of doctor's appointments and we hated it. And we were complaining on the way there and then complaining there. But Christina has a way of bringing Hazel to appointments and having fun. Do you want to talk about that, Christina?
Having fun. Well, that's great because you can spend a lot of time at appointments, right?
Yeah.
Given everything else going on in life.
Yes, that's right. Just a routine appointment can last 3 hours. So we have figured that out over time to just mentally prepare ourselves that it's going to be a long day. So I tend to bring something to draw with, or we listen to Harry Potter sometimes on the phone.
Okay.
We bring books. Can you think of anything else?
Snacks.
Snacks. We always
Gotta have snacks.
You forget the snacks when we're in Nashville.
Yeah. Yes, when we're in Nashville, I forget the snacks, but we always have a little fun treat after the appointment.
Oh, good.
We travel a lot for the appointments, and Christina tries to do a great job, or she does do a great job of making sure that wherever we go to visit, it's more than just a doctor's visit. One of the first things she does is try to make the hotel or Airbnb feel more like home and a place where we can be comfortable and relax. And then we go to Philadelphia, Miami, Orlando, and at all of those places, California. Yeah.
You'll be coming to California soon. Tell me about that, Hazel. What's going on here? It's near my house. What are you doing in California in November?
I'm going to have a bone surgery on my feet, November 30th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a long one. Like, it's going to be very long.
It is?
Yeah.
Both feet?
The surgery will be long?
Yes. I have non-weight bearing for like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So what are they doing? And is it both feet or just one?
It's both feet at the same time.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And what's going on? Why do you need the surgery?
I actually don't know.
Yes. The way that we describe it in our house, Hazel had surgery maybe 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was more of a soft tissue surgery where they moved around some tendons and that sort of thing. And this is going to be more structural. So the recovery is longer, but it's more likely to stick longer.
Okay.
And
Good.
so this is bone related instead of soft tissue. And her feet are not in a position that allow for her to have very braceable feet. So we hope to correct that.
Did you guys buy some sort of like back thing that Hazel can just go in? You can bring her all around on your back. You both need one of those.
Oh,
yeah.
We don't have one of those.
Well, you need one.
Wheelchair.
No, I would make your parents carry you on their
Yeah,
backs.
totally. Get an adult baby Bjorn. Both of you.
I like to use my arms, so like wheelchairs are fun for me because I can exercise my arms, and they're like, and mine have like lights on the bottoms of the wheel.
Oh, cool.
Oh, well, see, now you have fancy stuff going on there, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about this surgery? Are you positive about it? You're like, okay, let's get this done.
I'm actually kind of nervous about it.
You are.
Yeah.
What part of it are you nervous about?
Like the recovery.
Sure. That seems probably like a long time, right? 4 to 6 weeks.
Of no weight bearing. And then I still have cast after that. And then it's like, I'll be good in summer though.
Yeah,
Now that's important when you're in Tennessee, right?
that's right. And that's the way to put a positive spin on it. You're looking at the end result, which is great.
Can you boss your sister around a little bit and ask her, oh, I need water, I need this, I need that?
Oh,
You don't think so? You can't get away with some of that?
wow.
She bossed me around.
Oh, well, there you go. Can you boss your
Yeah,
mom
she's
around?
nodding her head. Yes. Yes. Well,
But-
Hazel, you will do just fine. I can tell. You're a very positive individual. So, yes, and this will probably appear like a very short window in your life as you continue to get older. But it's going to seem like a very long window at this age, too. But you're right. You'll be ready to go for the summer. So that's cool.
She has a very positive spin on everything, doesn't she,
I know.
Chris?
I
Everything.
know. I'm
No,
learning from you right now, Hazel.
Yeah, we
So
both are. I
this is
stubbed my
seriously-
toe and it ruined my day. I mean,
Yep.
seriously, my whole day was ruined because my toe hurt. The whole day. Seriously.
Oh, God.
It
Hazel
might go
is-
into the week.
Hazel is so strong. She actually had an accident. She fell off of her bike recently. She rides a trike.
It's a
And,
motorized trike, right?
Yes,
That's
yes,
a e-trike.
That's cool.
yes. And so she was turning a corner and it flipped. We weren't there because she's so independent. She just goes on her own, and she just got right back on her bike and came home and washed herself off. And then I just thought it was a little scrape. I had no idea, but it was a big one. But the way she handled it, I would have been a mess.
Mm,
She is able to carry on. She's just so strong.
that's great. Hazel, do you know or do you speak to anyone else that has CMT?
Yes.
Yeah? Like who is it? And I don't know if you've ever been to Camp Footprint or anything like that.
I have not.
Your father went to Camp Footprint and you haven't been. Like, what's up with that?
Oh yeah.
So who do you know who has CMT? Like another friend of yours or?
Allie, she lives in Alabama.
Uh-huh.
We just talked on the phone recently, last week. It's fun to talk to her because I'm only like 2 months and 5 days older than her.
Uh-huh.
So, like, we have a lot of in common about it. And we
Yep.
both are pretty positive and we don't think about it. And, like,
That's
when
cool.
we don't talk about CMT. We just talk about what's going on because I feel like if we talk about CMT, it won't really make it a fun time.
And do you think you'll ever visit each other?
We tried to once, but then
You did.
something came up.
How did you meet her?
Actually, our Gina Sweeney, who works for the CMTA, was
Oh,
enough to introduce us to Callie and her family. And
Oh,
so
Callie.
we've enjoyed getting to know them a little and look forward to the opportunity to meet them in person at some point soon.
That's great. How far is Alabama from you?
Depends on where you're going in Alabama. It's certainly a long state, but I think where they live is maybe 3 hours from Nashville.
Okay. That's doable.
Right.
That's totally doable.
Lizzo,
So,
you're
David-
surprised that is in the U.S.
It is. Well, I meant 3 hours. I was thinking it was like across the country, like
Yeah,
Vermont
she
to
thought maybe
California.
Alabama was in Europe or something.
Thanks, Chris. That's really nice.
But you weren't great in geography, so
I wasn't great in much. Maybe French, but
French. You're
I
really
mean, you
good at
got the
French, so-
award, so I don't know
Right,
how that
so,
happened. But
yeah,
anyway,
well, you're my teacher, so
David, you're on the board of the CMTA. Why are you involved with the CMTA?
Well, I'm on the board, but Christina does, I think, just as much as I do. But
That's not
we,
true.
You both do a lot, but I was
You both
wondering
do a
why
lot.
you're involved.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be involved with the board. And the short version is we're just not people who sit on the sidelines. We like to be involved. And if there's a way that we can make a positive change in our community, or in this case with CMT, we want to do that. We want to be a part of it.
And
well,
so
both
you
you
put on
guys
a
are making a big difference.
yeah, with this derby.
in
Did you
your
know
own
they do
ways.
the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah.
So tell us about that event.
Are you going to do that next year too? Has that
We
been an
are.
annual? Here's for our listeners. Okay, now you got to
May.
go to this event in May. But
You have
go
a
ahead.
date?
Here's your plug.
Well, thank you. Yes, it's always going to be the first Saturday in May. It's going to be in Nashville. We think it's the largest Kentucky Derby party in Nashville, Tennessee. And this is an area that cares about such things. When I joined the board, one of the things that we wanted to do was to be able to raise some money for the CMTA to help support things like Camp Footprint or finding a treatment and or cure. And we had a Kentucky Derby party for a number of years. And so we thought it would be a natural transition. In addition to that, we thought it was important that if we're going to try to raise funds for the CMTA, it's not a disease that impacts tons of people that we know, right? So we needed to do something that was fun, that people would look forward to coming to, and so that we can have the type of reach that we wanted to have in terms of raising awareness and raising funds. So this year was year 3 for the many years to come.
That's wonderful.
And what are some of the details around the event? Is it at your house?
We rent a facility. That's a very beautiful place. The ladies will wear their dresses and hats, and guys will wear the derby attire, sport coats, and so forth. We try to have contests and mint juleps, and we really do our best to engage the crowd. And we'll have some live auction, bourbon items, that sort of thing. So very much a Kentucky Derby themed party.
And Hazel, do you go to this party?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Then do you bring any of your friends to the party?
No.
No.
There's no kids allowed.
No
kids allowed, except for you and your sister. Right?
And Hazel generally will speak.
Good.
At the fundraiser. She does a great job.
So if I asked you to say something now, like you do at the fundraiser, like what kind of things do you say?
Hello.
And then?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
This helps support us raising money for the CMTA because there's no cure or treatment for CMT. So having this, we can fund for more people to help discover and help try to find out what it is.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's so great that you get up there and speak to the crowd, right? And that you send a really strong message in terms of the purpose of the event, which is fantastic.
Hazel, I don't think you really prepare for that, do you? You just go up there and ad lib it, right?
She does. Yes, she speaks from the heart. But
yeah, perfect.
She has great, as we've mentioned, leadership qualities, and she's able to take on that task and really do a great job engaging the audience.
So Hazel, these leadership qualities, do you think your parents had anything to do with that? Or is that true? Your dad, you're pointing to your dad and your mom, both of them. Big influence.
What are these leadership qualities that you have?
Well, I think I got it from dad because he's the head of the bank, and then mom always is helping everyone.
Right.
And the leadership qualities, I think it's like, I like telling people what to do. I guess being in charge of stuff makes me feel good because like I know I'm helping.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think you said that very well. A leader is giving back to others and helping, and you've got a strong drive there. And I agree with you. It is fun telling people what to do as well, right?
Both Dave and Hazel are very decisive, which is a huge quality.
Okay.
It is. Can you think of an example, Christina, how Hazel is decisive?
Oh, well, I have an embarrassing story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's hear it. Let it rip.
That's the best kind.
When Clara was starting to crawl and we were at the playground, I always think about this and how she started crawling towards the ladder at the playground. And I looked over at Hazel. I said, should she do that? And Hazel's like, no.
Hazel was what, 4 or 5?
Yeah, she's really little.
That's awesome. But it sounds like she's a mixture of the both of you, and that's fantastic.
David and Christina, so in terms of for our listeners, as parents with a child with CMT, what feedback or words of advice would you give other parents that may listen to our podcast here?
Don't tell the child to stop. Like for me, if Hazel wants to do something, we'll find a way to make it happen.
Yeah. And I would say never treat them differently. We're fortunate that both of our girls are great girls and have high expectations of themselves, but we also have high expectations of both of them. And CMT should not be a limiting factor in life in most any way that is not related to perhaps athletics.
Do you agree with them, Hazel?
Yes, but I can do a lot of them.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
She's
And
athletic than me.
yeah, Hazel has great hand-eye coordination. She's a
Yeah.
great competitor, but long-term, like high jump or something like that would be a challenge.
I don't like jumping.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, the truth is your parents aren't very good jumpers anyway. I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to be in the cards for you.
But she is an amazing runner.
She
runs
is.
the
Oh, really?
year.
Yeah.
Do you still do that, Christina? Are you a runner now?
Yes, I enjoy running.
Yeah. Okay.
Like almost every morning at 5:30. And
Oh, you do?
That's kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's very early.
So I've never been a runner, and I used to run a little bit with my wife, but I'm the type that would always just look down the road and be like, oh my God, when am I going to get to that stop sign? I cannot wait for this to be over. Where other friends of mine would run and they just get in the zone and they could do a marathon. I'm like, there's no way I could do it. But it must be great, right? It's healthy.
Yes. I only go at 5:30 if I have friends waiting for me outside.
Someone to motivate you there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's a great activity to do. If I ever have a problem, I tend to go, or when I go for a run, after the run, I tend to have the solution to it. So it's helpful
That's
to
right. Helps you. Hazel, I want to ask you also, what advice would you have? Now, this is a big question for the entire CMT community. Like if you were talking, your eyes just went, wow. If you were talking to everybody, what advice would you have to live a fulfilling and happy life with CMT?
Don't let having CMT limit you, because like if it limits you and you think that it's a problem, then it's definitely gonna make other people think that too. So you're not gonna be as capable to do stuff as you would if you believe that it wasn't limiting. That's why I said you had to have self-respect, because like respecting yourself and who you are on the outside and mostly the inside, that is more important than if you have CMT or not. Because like if you're applying for a job, they're not going to be like, oh, you have CMT, you can't do it. They're going to be like, oh, they're not very positive and they think CMT is very limiting.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. You are so well spoken, and what a great attitude. Really.
You're going to be a very successful, and success can be defined in any way, but you're very determined. You're going to have a great life ahead of you. And very honored. I'm honored that we're able to speak to you and your family today. So
you guys are such an inspiration, and I hope a lot of people will take away your messages and bring them home and utilize them.
Continue doing what you're doing. I mean, it's being active, Hazel, spreading awareness, you guys having your fundraiser, David being part of the board, Christina, everything you're doing in terms of appointments and making these appointments fun. And some folks actually do sit on the sidelines. For those that maybe listen to our podcast or listen to this podcast that are trying to figure out what do they do, you guys will be an inspiration to move them forward, I'm sure. So really great.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we come to a close?
No.
Okay. Well,
I'd just like to thank you for all that you two are doing for the community.
Oh, thank you.
Such a huge help, and I appreciate all of your work.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
It's
all right,
fun.
Hazel, we have a few questions. You ready?
Yeah. So I'll start with, we have a few
I want to do the last one.
Yeah, you can do it. If you we have a few weird questions always. So if you had a store, you opened your own store, what would you sell and why?
I would sell like bakery stuff and like Taylor Swift and Harry Potter stuff.
Yes, there's a marketing team right there. That's awesome.
Hazel, given your leadership skills and wanting to be a CEO, so if now you were the CEO of your household, you just came into this position and you could change any rule that your parents have, what rule would you change and why?
That's a good one.
Let us have devices in our bedroom.
Okay.
Well, you continue to ask for that. You will get it one day.
It's just a matter of time. That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Hazel. You're just a gem. Well, Chris,
So-
we're going to wrap it up. I hate
Okay.
you.
I know. Me too. This can go
These
on
guys
for a
all
long
day.
time here. So, Lizzo, if someone wants to follow us on social media, where do they go?
Well, we have a Facebook and an Instagram page, CMT for Me
That's right.
Podcast. And we also have a YouTube channel, raw and unedited. And we have a brand new TikTok channel. And our official website is this is very difficult to say every time I get tongue tied.
Oh, gosh.
www.podpage.com/CMT for me.
TikTok. I didn't even know we launched TikTok.
Yeah, just last week.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
Last week?
When you were on vacation, we just decided to do TikTok.
Oh, perfect. Am I on there?
You are, and you're really funny. You're playing the drums.
Gosh. Oh, really?
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, my God. Okay. So, to our listeners, do you have a good story? Would you like to tell your story on our CMT for Me podcast? Either write to us at info@cmtausa.org and pitch your idea, or go to our new website, as Lizzo said, www.podpage.com/CMT for me, or fill out our inquiry form on CMTAUSA.org.
You said it without going plug page.
I know. I'm always like plug.
Also, Sarah Cater and Ashley Feller, I wanted to give them a shout out. Our two CMTA podcast directors and supporters have created a phone line. Chris, did you know we have a phone line now where you can call in and tell your story? Call us to let us know about the challenges you've faced and the victories you've experienced with CMT. The number is 941-233-5172.
Again?
941-233-5172.
And please leave us a review. Help us get the word out about the podcast. One way is to leave a review is to go to Apple Podcasts or to Podpage.
All right. Well, I think that's enough plugs for everybody and everything. So I think that's a wrap, Chris. And as they say in Tennessee, holler if you need me.
Y'all come now. Here?
Yeah, y'all come back now. You hear? That was Beverly Hillbillies, wasn't it?
That was.
Y'all come back now. You hear? Thank
That's an
you.
old one.
Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
guys.
You guys, awesome. Thank you very much.